Do you ever feel like a stranger in your own body? Like you're kind of moving through life, but you're not actually really connected into this body of yours that is moving you through the world and helping you to explore and have experiences, but you just don't really feel tuned in, particularly tuned in to when your body starts to go into a state of distress. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can better tune in and be with your body and support and care for yourself in moments of distress. So let's talk about it. All right. So what's really true is that it is hard for those of us who have experienced trauma to, really be able to connect into those indications of physical distress. Because in the moments of being traumatized, we do everything we can not to be in the body. And we're focusing very outwardly. We're looking for a place to escape, whether consciously or unconsciously. Like the body and the brain are doing the work of fight and flight, and then dropping into freeze if that needs to be the state, which is a state of numbing out, a state of dissociation. So whether we're in fight flight and we're looking externally for like something to grab to fight back with or an exit route, or we're dropping into a state of dissociation, in these moments of trauma, we're being taught to not be in the body, to not be tuned in, to not be noticing what's happening. And this is okay. This is how we survive. This is how we make it through. But this is not the state of being that we want to remain stuck in, right? We want to actually claim these bodies and be in these beautiful vessels of ours, okay? And so, I think what's really true is like we can come to have this sense that I'm unsafe in my body. And, the problem of that is that it wasn't our body that was unsafe. It was the person who was unsafe. It wasn't our body that was causing the trauma. And yet I know from working with so many survivors, and of course in my own process and my own experience, that it's easier to kind of like sit in this place of like, if I blame my body, then I feel like I'm more in control or more in charge than feeling like I'm powerless or at the mercy of something external that happened to me. But if we continue to feel unsafe in this body that we wake up and we go to bed with every single day, like that's just a recipe for misery, right? Okay, so but yeah, we stay in kind of states of disconnection, lack of awareness, and so we don't really notice the sensations that are happening in our body. So what's really important in order to heal is we want to be reconnected to the body. We want to learn how to feel. We want to be able to monitor what's going on, and we want to be able to modify, right? Use interventions such that when we start to have an experience that we don't want to have, we can course correct and come back to something that feels good and solid and grounded. I love Peter Levine describes this as felt sense. And that's a big part of, his work around somatic experiencing. It's really about improved self-awareness so that you can better identify, manage, and reduce the impact of trauma and symptoms and activations. Okay, so when we start this process, we're going to start to draw from our wonderful little book, Trauma Treatment Toolbox. We want to start to create sensory awareness and use some sensory awareness techniques that are going to help us reconnect with the body. Okay, so this is really where all of your senses come into play: touch, sight, sound, smell. And the idea is that you want to, as soon as you start to experience places of distress, places of discomfort, really ask yourself some questions that are going to help you connect with the surface, but then also with your internal sensations. Okay, so you want to kind of practice these exercises at times when you're not feeling distressed, right? When you're not feeling activated, so that you're kind of building this muscle, so that when you are in a state that might be more challenging, you'll be more readily able to access. Okay, so surface sensations. We start with the idea of airflow. Is there anywhere on the surface of my body that I can feel air? Just start there, tuning in, noticing. connecting with the air that's around you. Maybe if you're outside, there's a breeze, or if you're sitting near a fan. And just noticing where the air hits the skin. You can start to practice this right now here with me as you're watching. Just taking a moment to notice that. What's really beautiful about this first one is that it requires a moment of stillness. Just a moment where we stop going, revving, moving, thinking, and we just bring all of our awareness to the feelings and sensations of the air on our skin. Moving to an internal sensation, working with air, it's your breath. Can I start to notice the breath coming in to my body and leaving my body? I like to give breath like a color, so I can imagine like the colors going in, and I can imagine that color filling up, going all the way down into my belly and my pelvis, and then coming all the way back out. I know one of my clients, she likes to use very specific colors. She likes to use the idea of like inhaling white and exhaling black. And those colors have a representation of like bringing in like quiet, calm, pure, clear, and exhaling like heaviness, darkness, things that don't serve me. Okay. So this is a way that we can use our connection and our sensory data around air and breath to start to help us connect into the body and notice what's going on in the body. The next sensation that we want to work with is pressure. Okay, so can you feel any pressure on the surface of your body? Kind of starting at the bottom with your feet and really scanning upward and beginning to notice any pressure. So, it might be the pressure on your legs from the chair you're sitting in, or on your butt from the, where you're sitting in your chair. Just noticing, any points of pressure. Then we move on to sensations. Like, are there just any sensations on the surface of my body? Like, am I noticing any tingling or twitching or itching? Any other kinds of experiences? Just doing that body scan and just noticing, again, what's on the surface of the body. And then you can bring that internally by noticing, is there any internal sensation? So is my stomach rumbling? Is my head pulsing? Goodness, do I feel like a sense of like butterflies or nausea in my stomach? Right? So all of these ways to really start to get connected. And then temperature. Right? Like, can I feel the temperature of my body? Again, you can kind of start with your feet and work your way up and just notice like, ooh, my feet are cold. My legs are fine. Oh my gosh, my hands are cold, right? Just starting to really connect into the different parts of the body and the temperature that you notice there. And I love the idea of like the internal sensation of temperature, right? Can I notice and feel the temperature inside my body? That's an interesting one, right? Focus on your abdomen. You can feel inside the mouth, just noticing if there are any internal sensations of warmth or cold. And another internal sensation that we can work with is tension. So we can scan the body and notice, is there any place in my body where I'm holding some tension? Okay. Beautiful. Yeah, just being with that for a moment. Maybe taking a moment here to practice. Choose one of these surface sensations. So air, pressure, general sensations, like what are you feeling on the outside of your body, and temperature. Just take a moment to work with those surface sensations. Yeah. And now take a moment to work with your internal sensations. Again, the airflow, that's your breath, general sensations, what's happening inside the body, temperature, internal temperature, and places of tension. So there are so many great questions that you can use to refine this process. Do I feel pressure in my head? Does my head feel hot? Does my jaw feel tense or tight? Is there a ringing in my ears? Does my back feel stiff or sore? Does my stomach feel like it's in knots? Do my hands or feet feel shaky? So, these body sensations can be, indications of distress that's happening in the body. And when left, unaddressed, they can continue to escalate and our activation can, just really get out of hand. So when you start to notice these sensations, just notice like, okay, there's something happening in my body, which might be telling me that I'm feeling stressed, I'm feeling activated. And of course, the more we're able to be with these sensations and sit with these sensations, then the more capacity we have for being in states of distress, which goes back to some of the work we've done in previous videos around like our distress thermometer, right? And expanding our capacity. And so, yeah, I think this is just a really beautiful way to start to use sensations, your senses, sight, sound, smell, touch, to really be connecting into your body and noticing what's going on. And of course, the goal is to be able to notice the difference, like when I'm in a moment of relaxation and nervous system regulation, and when I feel a shift in my body, to not bypass that, but to slow down, check in with yourself, tune into it, get curious about it, and work with that. And so that you can really, really take better care of yourself in these moments and stay out of higher states of distress and activation. Okay. So I look forward to hearing how you're doing using your senses to explore and connect into states of distress and to soothe yourself and be more body aware. And if you have any questions, let me know. And until next time, take good care of you.